Alright, welcome back to the roaming kiwi.locals.com, and we're just going through Shannon. So unfortunately we missed out some footage earlier because I forgot to turn the camera on between Patia and Palmerston North. So I had earlier in the day been to catch up with friends and family in Palmerston North, and after doing that I had taken State Highway 56 down through Longburn and Tia Kitahuna and Opiki, and yeah, so we'd just come through Shannon. Shannon, interesting little place, kind of, depends on who you talk to. Was originally planned as a settlement called Te Marie in 1840 by the New Zealand Company, but was never actually built. Not until 1887 did settlers move into the area because of the rich flax milling opportunities that existed there. And was originally founded by a person called George Shannon, who was also the founder of Manawatu Railways. So there we go, founded in 1887. Not much happening there today, mostly beef and milk and cheese production and those kinds of things going on there, as many of the other rural dairying locations. But along the State Highway 57 I hadn't actually travelled before, so this was my first opportunity to actually go this way. So we've just come through Koputaroa, and that's a tiny little settlement that there's nothing happening at. We're on our way to Levin. We won't be very far out of Levin by now. I'm pretty sure that we're coming up on the eastern side of Levin, and we're going to get into some roadworks now, which is where they're actually redirecting traffic. So when you get to the end of this particular segment here, if you turned right here, then you would end up in Levin Township. But instead we're going to skip it by going around the east side of Levin, and then we're going to come out on State Highway 1 near Ohau. Yeah. So not too far from here, and we're going to come back out on State Highway 1. Yes, this is what you can expect to see from some of the travel diaries now. I'm getting used to doing this. This is the third of my travel diaries. So we're headed back down here onto the main road, State Highway 1, which should come out somewhere near Ohau. And then we're going to be heading further down that State Highway all the way into Plimmerton. So this is an unbroken video. You've got about 12 minutes worth of it. So here we go, back out onto the main highway here. This is where things start to change quite a bit. So from about here onwards, we're actually going to see upgraded highways, investment in motorways, all sorts of good roading, which we don't see in very many parts of the country. But there's a lot of investment happening down this particular corridor. That's because of the Greater Wellington project. So all of the Kapiti Coast is to be opened up or is being opened up for further housing investment and infrastructure investment. And yeah, essentially that's all because of the Transmission Gully project, which is happening further down the road, just before Paikakariki. So yeah, you can see why the New Zealand Transport Authority wants to change this road. It's very old. It hasn't probably been upgraded since the 60s, not properly anyway. Many of the overbridges that go over the rail lines are quite narrow and therefore quite dangerous, because a lot of the trucks on the road these days are a lot bigger and heavier and all that kind of stuff. Actually kind of reminds me of a couple of the bridges I've crossed coming here and on the way to the south. So these episodes are a little bit staggered. I have taken the time to learn a little bit about the old video editing software. Haven't got my head around some of it completely yet, but we're getting there. So as the third episode goes, I think I'm not too unhappy with this one. It's actually pretty good. I haven't had to cut and clip too many things out of it, which is a positive. So we're coming here onto this is the beginning of the Peka Peka Expressway, or at least not far from here anyway. There's the Peka Peka Expressway. I think actually we've just gone through Kuku and maybe even coming into Manukau and Otaki. So I think this is Otaki now, actually, thinking about it. Yep, this is Otaki, coming down the new approach to Otaki. If you turned right and went down towards the coast here, you'd end up at Otaki Beach, which is another small settlement. It's part of Otaki, very different to Otaki itself. Nice little place to stay. There's a beach that you can park your trucks on down there and not sink into the sand, which is fantastic. So yeah, this is the old Otaki Bridge that will very likely be retired as soon as the new highway's opened on the left. You can see all of that massive earthworks happening on the left there. Not really sure whether or not you can actually see it properly, but certainly as you travel down this section of the highway, it's very, very obvious that the new motorway that will replace it will be very much safer, much flatter. The surface will be much better. All those kinds of things, and it should speed up the commute from this part of the Greater Wellington region all the way into Wellington City itself. Yep. So we're definitely coming through Te Horo now, and then I think the Peka Peka Expressway will start any moment. So yeah, you can definitely see it on the left there. It's starting. So yeah, here we go. This is where the Peka Peka Expressway will begin, or at least the new Peka Peka Expressway. So Peka Peka is just north of Waikanae, if you've never been to this particular part of the coast before. So here we are, onto the new Peka Peka Expressway. Alright, we're there. So this is what the road is going to look like all the way from Wellington, all the way up to just north of Otaki, pretty much. Yeah, we're going to have a nice highway like this. Anyone watching from overseas is going to say, well, what's the big deal? All of our roads look like this. Well, the big deal here in New Zealand is that these roads only recently got the green light for investment. So they've only been started since the last government was in their term. So in the last 6 years, that's how long they've been working on these roads. They are a lot better than the original highway, and a lot faster, a lot better gradients, and just able to keep fuel efficiency high and all those kinds of things. And definitely a lot nicer to drive than the old motorway and the old highway, where it's so much undulations and potholes and so on. Yep, looking forward to seeing it go all the way through Transmission Gully in a couple of years' time. So they are officially opening that this year. So next year we might even be able to get video footage of me going up Transmission Gully all the way through to Pawatahanui, which is on the other end of the Transmission Gully project. So that will come out to the east of Plimmerton. And when we get to the end of this journey on this particular footage, we'll be coming out in Plimmerton, and we'll be going to one of the domains there to stay the night. Yeah, so to your left, to your left, all the way along in this journey, you're actually seeing the Tararua Ranges. They are the big jutting hills that are coming up out of the left there. And here we've just come off the Peka Peka Expressway, and we're joining into the main motorway going south from the south end of Paraparaumu, as we really just shot straight through. Staying on the motorway, we didn't have to turn off any of those into any of those townships, so we completely bypassed Waikanae, completely bypassed Paraparaumu, going straight through. And as we're coming up here on the left, there's a memorial for US Marines and a park, and up the hill there to the left where I'm not going, that's where Transmission Gully begins. So that should be opened this year. And down on the right where we are going is Paikakariki. So this is the little township of Paikakariki. There's not much there, but lots of people live there. There's some good shops. There's a railway station. There's a good domain. So we are actually going to be having a fair there as our first fair in the North Island after we've completed our South Island circuit. And this part of the highway that you're seeing now is the reason why they're investing so much in the Transmission Gully project. So it might be picturesque. We may be driving along the coast and it may look beautiful, but this particular section of New Zealand's highway network has some of the highest crash records and fatalities numbers out of all the highways around the place, and it's not hard to see why, given the volume of cars and heavy traffic that come through this way every day from the Wellington region to the greater northern Wellington region, or the Kapiti Coast. It's very, very easy to see why people have so many accidents on this highway. It's narrow, it's old, there isn't a very lot of good visibility. It's one of those things. When it's stormy as well, and stormy weather, the sea makes things very difficult to see, so it makes things much harder. So yeah, never mind, we won't have to worry about this in future. About a year's time, this will all be gone. You won't be driving it will be still there, but you won't be driving through here unless you actually live on the Kapiti Coast in these townships. Right, so we're now coming out the other side there, and we're coming back onto the motorway. And yeah, well, I remember living down in Wellington for at least 10 years. I always found it really strange when you got to the end of Plimmerton and you came to the end of the motorway and all of a sudden there was no motorway. It was really odd, considering the number of people that lived in Waikanae and Paraparaumu and commuted via train. It always seemed to me like there should be a motorway. Yep, and we're just coming into Plimmerton very, very soon. So there's a big roundabout coming up, and after we go through here, we're pretty much in Plimmerton. So under this bridge, and we're in Plimmerton, right. And Plimmerton's nice. Some of my family used to live here, so yeah, I used to come and spend a bit of time in this area with them, and it was kind of like my home away from home when I was living in the Wellington region. Big thanks to Ross and Gail, who had me up for a few years at least in your spare room, so thank you. Didn't ever forget that. It was very, very important to me. You saved me, really. And turning down the right here, we're going to be going to I think it's the Tainui Domain. I think I've got that right. I may be wrong. Gosh, really hope I'm not. But if I am wrong, someone in the comments can correct me. Anyway, we're staying the night here. And yeah, good little spot down by Porirua Harbour. Windy, but picturesque. Good place to park your camper van for the night. Anyway, thanks very much for watching this third installation of the roamingkiwi.locals.com. And if you want more content like this, then please feel free to join, like, and subscribe. Thanks very much. Bye now.